Hi guys, hello, welcome to my channel. As you can see from this glorious stack of boxes behind me, today we're gonna be doing a book haul. I've been doing a lot of online shopping recently and also in-person shopping. Target is like my new favorite place to get books. I never really understood why everyone loved Target so much for books because when I went like months and months ago, I thought you only got the discount if you had their credit card, but that's totally not the case. They have a free card now and I didn't realize that. So we've been taking advantage of it. But then I also tried a couple of new places that I've never shopped from before, one of which is Abe Books. I got a used book from them. I'm very excited to show you guys. And then also Book Outlet, which that one's gonna be the last package that we go through, and I cannot believe more people don't talk about them. So stay tuned. Should I start with Target? I think we're gonna start with Target. Again, I did do two separate trips. This one was the first one I did, and they were having a buy one, get one half off sale. So I did get 4 books. I think actually right now Target is doing a buy 2 books, get one free sale. So I might be going this weekend. I really don't need to buy any more books, but I mean, I'm gonna get the books eventually, so I might as well get them when they're cheaper, you know? Girl math. Anyway, if you haven't shopped at Target, get their free card, buy the books. Such a good deal. I totally understand now everyone's love for getting books at Target. Anyway, the first book that I have is House of Beating Wings by Olivia Wildenstein. I think that's how you say the last name. And I have no idea what this book is about, but obviously from like the cover art and the title, it's gonna be a fantasy. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a fantasy romance, and those are like my favorite books. There's literally not a fantasy romance that I have read that I didn't like to some capacity, so I feel pretty safe just kind of like grabbing books that look like this without actually knowing anything about them. Also too, it says includes bonus content and a brand new chapter. Love some bonus content, but also too, it does have these like really pretty dark green sprayed edges. I'm just really excited about this. But anyway, let's go ahead and find out what it's about. Free the crows, Fallon, and they will make you queen. Oh, free the crows, Fallon, and they will make you queen. All her life, Fallon has been marked by her half-humanity. Nearly every pure-blooded fairy at court has looked down on her for her curved ears, lack of magic, and fondness for water serpents. Ooh, water serpents sounds neat. But never Dante, the prince of Luce. The flirtatious royal has held Fallon's heart ever since Dante gave Fallon her first kiss, but as doubt creeps in of how a fae... I cannot read today, this is gonna be a struggle. But as doubt creeps in of how a fae prince and a halfling could ever have lasting happiness together, Fallon finds hope in an oracle's prophecy. She will be queen, but first she must free the crows. The whole like freeing the crows thing is really hard for me to take seriously because it's really reminding me of Schitt's Creek when Moira Rose does the Crows Have Eyes movie. So that's all I'm thinking about. Anyway, confused yet determined, Fallon embarks on the hunt that he'd give her everything she's wanted but couldn't have. Power, respect, perhaps even acceptance, and most desirably, her prince. But unknown to Fallon, her quest will unleash more than just her destiny. And when the ancient demon awakens, he plans to have Fallon all to himself. Ooh, okay, so we're gonna have like a villain in this one as well. A good prince and a dark prince, if you will, which is very exciting, except for the fact I really don't love a love triangle, so we'll see how that goes. Next up, we have another book that I've seen around, but I haven't really heard any reviews for, but it looks promising, so I'm crossing my fingers. And that is Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. This one is obviously gonna be about vampires, and I don't think that this one is a romance. I think this is just like a fantasy, which I'm kind of excited for. It's been almost 2 years since I started this channel and I still have yet to read just like a pure fantasy without any romance. I mean, he is shirtless though, so maybe there is a romance in here. Because otherwise, why would they make him look like that, you know? I don't want to read the synopsis for every single book in this video because one, I am having the hardest time reading out loud for some reason right now. And then also, we're just gonna be here for entirely too long because I got so many books to go through. So I just kind of briefed over this one really quickly, and honestly, I still don't really know what it's about. The first illustrated volume of an astonishing new dark fantasy saga. I don't think this has romance in it. It's literally just about vampires and stuff. That sounds really cool. Also, it did say illustrated, and I totally forgot about that, but there is illustrations in it. Like, how cool is that? Also, this is a very floppy book, so love that. Oh. Yeah, there's all kinds of illustrations. I love a book with illustrations, especially if it's fantasy. Like, I feel like every book, I know we're all adults here, but I feel like every book should have illustrations. Like, why did we get rid of pictures in books? Best thing ever. Next up is a book that I am actually so freaking excited for. I got the first Zodiac Academy book, and I do believe this is a new cover. I feel like I heard recently that these are all getting new covers, and if they all look like this, I'm gonna be very excited, which does actually look very similar to the original cover, but just slightly different, and just better, I think, in my opinion. I love the gold metallic. Also, some of it's kind of like raised, which is really cool. I honestly don't really know what this book specifically is about, but each book is a different zodiac sign, and I am obsessed with the zodiac. I'm a Taurus myself. I have literally a Taurus necklace on right now, and I very much believe that there's something to zodiac signs and things like that. So I'm excited to read like a fantasy series involving the zodiac signs. This first one is I'm a Gemini, impulsive, curious, headstrong, a twin, heir to a throne I know nothing about. And it turns out I'm Fae. And honestly, I kind of want to go into this one blind, so I think that's all I'm going to read about this book. But kind of like skimming over the synopsis, I do see the word vampire pop up and dragon shifter. So I'm excited about this. I did kind of like skim over the whole series, and Taurus doesn't pop up until the 4th book, so I've got a little bit of ways to go before I get to my own zodiac sign, but I'm excited. And then last but certainly not least, for our first Target trip, we have Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur, something like that. This is a very, very infamous, popular poetry book. I've had my eye on this poetry book in particular for a while now. I've heard a lot of really good things, but I've also kind of heard a lot of like not so great things. I feel like people that are like really into poetry don't particularly like this poetry book, but I'm definitely newer to poetry, and I do feel like I prefer the types of poetry that this book has, where the majority of them are kind of like short and sweet and kind of just clever, if that makes sense. When poems are like too long and too like wordy and too kind of abstract, I'm lost. I can like feel my brain kind of like checking out, like I'm reading the words but nothing is penetrating. So I kind of like, again, just the cute, sweet, simple, clever, little obvious poetry. I don't know if that's exactly what this is, but kind of like flipping through, a lot of them do seem to be kind of shorter. That being said, there are some longer ones in here, but just generally, I'm like really excited for this special edition because it is hardcover and the cover itself is so pretty. My favorite thing is to get like a actual like printed hardcover. This one in particular is kind of got like that fabric-y type of feel, and I love the fact that it's like pink. This is just so cute. It has like the little bees on it. I'm pretty sure the original cover has the bees as well. And then also almost every single page, if not every single page, has an illustration of some sort on it, which again, I absolutely love. But the thing that made me the most excited for this and kind of like tipped me over the edge of actually purchasing it is the fact that a lot of the pages have additional like new annotations from the author herself, and the concept of that just sounds so exciting to me. So like, for example, this page we have the poem, but then also right here she has like a little blurb of like why she wrote that poem. It says, I wrote this poem all in one go in October 2014 because someone really pissed me off. P.S. I developed a writing exercise after this piece in my 4th book, Healing Through Words. So she gives like a backstory to some of the poems, and then also there are like additional illustrations, which all of her like new annotations are pink to kind of like match the cover. I'm just so excited about this. I think this is gonna be such a fun and interesting read. So there's our first Target trip. Now let's go into our second. I feel like I've already been talking for so long. This is gonna be such a long haul. This second trip, I actually went specifically on a mission to get Throne of Secrets by Carrie Maniscalco. If you've been on this channel for any amount of time, you will know I have been absolutely obsessed with the Kingdom of the Wicked series, and this series is kind of like a spin-off of that. If you've never read Kingdom of the Wicked, it's essentially a fantasy romance involving a witch and the 7 princes of hell, and each of those princes kind of embodies a 7 deadly sin. And the Kingdom of the Wicked, like the entire series, mostly focused on wrath, and this spin-off series is basically going to be focusing on the other princes. So each book focuses on a specific prince. The first one was Envy, this one is Gluttony. I'm very excited for Sloth. The Envy book really piqued my interest about Sloth, so hopefully he's coming next, but in the meantime, we have Gluttony, and I'm not going to read what this one's about because I don't want to give any spoilers just in case there are some for Kingdom of the Wicked or the last book. I do believe that these are supposed to be kind of more standalones, but it might have some kind of spoiler, so we're just going to leave it at that. And I did actually end up getting one more book on this Target trip. These 2 books are the last ones that I got for this entire haul, and I've been trying to like slow down on the book buying. So I meant to only get the one, but I saw this one and it's one of those books that I know if they end up changing the cover or the dust jacket or anything about the book, honestly, after the first release and I'd miss out on it, I'm gonna be very upset. So I ended up getting this one. This is Bull Moon Rising by Ruby Dixon, who is the author of the Ice Planet Barbarians series, which I have kind of started. I think I'm like 5 books in. Absolutely love it. It's basically a smut series about aliens. This one, however, I don't think is smut. I think it's just fantasy romance. There might be some spice. I'm hoping that there's some spice, but if not, that's also fine. This picture inside is giving Beauty and the Beast, and I'm very excited. I'm actually currently reading a Beauty and the Beast retelling involving like the Fae. It's called The Beast of the Briar. Highly recommend that series. Anyway, the entire aesthetic of this book is everything to me. Again, this very much kind of like screams Zodiac, and specifically a Taurus, because we have bull moon rising and I am a Taurus, which is the bull. So obviously I love that, but then also I love just kind of like the metallic blue touches in this. And then also we did see the really pretty end papers. The back is the same. But the thing that I love about this book the most aesthetically is the actual hardcover. We have a freaking hot pink hardcover. And the entire like front and back has these little like metallic blue stars. How freaking pretty is that? And then also we do have some cool sprayed edges. Ooh, and the spine also looks really pretty. I think this is the first time I've seen the spine. I don't know if this edition is always gonna have the sprayed edges and this pink hardcover, but I definitely don't want to risk it because this is like one of the coolest looking books that I own now. In a world of magical artifacts and fantastical beings, a woman determined to save her family joins forces with an unlikely partner, a minotaur, in this steamy romantasy by best-selling author Ruby Dixon. So yeah, with the wording of steamy, I'm definitely going to assume that there's gonna be some spice in here. And again, that's kind of like all I want to know going into this one. So those are all of the books that I got from Target. Now let's go ahead and start tackling our giant stack of boxes. First off, I do have a couple of like loose books on the top. And the first one I got at my local grocery store, which was kind of random, but I have since bought a couple other books. I actually showed those already in a different video. But this one is Phantasma by Kaylee Smith. And I've actually already read this book. I really loved it. And I know for sure I'm gonna be continuing it. So I wanted to start getting the books for it. This one is basically about Ophelia, who is a necromancer, and she joins Phantasma, which is a competition kind of to the death, but kind of not. Like, you don't have to die. But basically there's only one winner and they get granted a wish. It got so dark in here. But the competition itself is kind of inspired by I think it's 9 Rings of Hell, which I thought was such a cool and interesting concept. And it is a little spicy. There is some romance involving a phantom. And there's also devils in the place. Like the devils run the competition. So such an interesting read, really cool concept. If you haven't read that one, definitely highly recommend. And then the other loose book that I have, I actually got from Amazon. I just kind of opened it because it came with something else. So she's already outside of her box, but this is The Child Thief by Brahm. And I basically got this one because I read, what's it called? I'm having like the worst time thinking today. Slewfoot. I read that in October last month and it was so good. It made me so angry, but it was so good. So I wanted to read some more from him. Also, Kevin did as well because Kevin also read Slewfoot. So we are going to be like slowly collecting his books because he also has illustrations in them, which are so good. So here's like kind of a little sneak peek of the illustrations in this one, which this one, by the way, is a Peter Pan retelling or inspired by. So this first picture is of Peter. And then we have the lady and what does this one say? The troll. I don't know how well you're gonna be able to see because like the glare, but the illustrations in these books, I mean, there's not like a ton, it's just the ones in the middle, but they're so good. Oh, there's one here too. Cool. I don't think Slewfoot had any aside from just like the glossy, colorful ones in the middle. But this one actually seems to have some images before each chapter as well. Also the fact that it's gonna be like a creepy Peter Pan, that sounds cool to me. Now let's crack open some packages. The first one is actually one that I've already opened as well because it came in like the thinnest, most unsecure packaging on the planet. So I wanted to make sure that the book was okay. But this is the book that I got from Abe Books. And I think it's basically like kind of has like an eBay type concept, but you don't like bid on the books, you just buy them. But it's basically a collection of different bookstores that list their books and that specific bookstore ships the books to you. So Abe Books, I don't think specifically does anything. I could be wrong on that, but that's kind of from my experience what it seems like. Anyway, this book I got from Half Price Books, specifically off of Abe Books website. I hope that makes sense. And it's a used book. It was a little pricey, but I have had my eye on this book in particular for a while. I actually tried to buy it a while back and the package got lost, so I had to get like refunded. So that was actually another reason why I like wanted to make sure that it was okay because I already had like a bad experience. Anyway, here she is. This is an illustrated version of Pride and Prejudice. This is a book that is no longer being made. It's not in print anymore, so you have to get it used. I don't know if you're able to see it, but we've got some like dings and things here and there. The, you know, corners are a little warped and stuff, but I think this was printed originally in 2015. And again, it got shipped in like the thinnest plastic possible. So, you know, it was bound to happen. This book was a little expensive. It was like $40, but the cover of this is just so stinking pretty. But then also there's illustrations throughout the entire book. I mean, not every single page I don't think has an illustration. No, not every single page has an illustration, but a lot of them do. And there's like some full page ones. I'm just so excited. I feel like the writing style for classics is not my thing. Literally every single book we were like forced to read in high school, I had the hardest time with reading them. When we were talking about the books in class, I was always like, oh my God, that story sounds so good. But then I'd go home and try to continue the reading and I just like could not do it. So I figured, I'm hoping that if the book has pictures throughout the entire thing, maybe it'll be easier for me to read because I'll at least kind of like look forward to the pictures, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Also, another reason I really specifically wanted this book in particular is because I just recently purchased Pride and Prejudice in Space, which is a retelling of Pride and Prejudice, obviously, but in space. And that sounds so cool, but I wanted to actually like read the original before I jumped into that one. So now we have the original and we have this really cool special edition illustrated version, and I'm so freaking excited. Next package. This is obviously an Amazon one. Ooh, there's 2 books in here. A lot of the Amazon packages are actually from a sale that I bought a bunch of books from like the middle of last month, because I don't remember what the sale was exactly, but I feel like a lot of the books were like just super, super inexpensive. So I bought a bunch. In this package, we do have 2 books. We have Mountains Made of Glass by Scarlett St. Clair. I read this book last year and I really, really enjoyed it. And she has since come out with a second book and basically announced that this is going to be a series. So I wanted to start getting the books, but these are kind of like smaller books, at least this first one is. So I didn't want to spend like a ton of money on it. Ooh, there's little illustrations in here as well. Not like crazy ones, but there's a little bird. There's another one with like a little thorny looking axe. I'm loving everyone putting illustrations in their books. And then the other one that I have is a nonfiction. It's kind of like a self-helpy type of book. There was like a period of time where I pretty much only bought self-help books, kind of skimmed through them and never really did anything with them. So I stopped doing that because I felt like I was wasting money. But this one in particular, I feel like has a tone that I'll be more receptive to. So this one is Buy Yourself the Fucking Lilies by Tara Schuster. Through simple daily rituals, Tara Schuster transformed her mind, body, and relationships. In this book, she reveals how we can all fake gratitude until we actually feel gratitude, excavate our emotional wounds and heal them with kindness, identify our self-limiting beliefs and kick them to the curb, silence our inner frenemy and shield ourselves from self-criticism. That's like a big one for me. Carve out time each morning to start our day empowered, inspired, and ready to rule, and create a life we truly, totally fucking love. I am definitely someone that's very critical of myself. I always kind of like jump to the worst case scenario, what could go wrong, and I always kind of feel like I am like that first one where it says fake gratitude until we actually feel gratitude. I am definitely someone that is so out into the future. Say for example, I set like 5 goals. By the time I reach this first one, I've made 5 more. I feel like I'm always just like in a perpetual like loop of just never being like satisfied or feeling fulfilled because I'm constantly 10 steps out. Like I feel like it's good to think about the future, but I just do it too much. I'm too in the future to where I don't enjoy the now and I don't appreciate the now. So that's definitely something I want to work on. I've been trying recently and I've gotten a little better at it, but like I could definitely use some help. So I'm hoping this does that. Moving on, we have another Amazon package and ooh, okay. So this one's actually getting returned, but I'm very, very excited about it. So this is Hexed by Emily McIntyre. This is the last and I think final book in the Never After series. These are basically kind of like spicy modern retellings inspired by Disney movies. And this one in particular, if you can kind of guess from the cover, this one is inspired by The Little Mermaid. And that was one of my favorite movies as a kid. And this is definitely the chunkiest book she's written so far. So I am so excited for this book. However, I don't know what I was thinking when I ordered this. I think I was just so excited about it coming out because I've been waiting for so long. If you don't know about this author, basically before she got the chance to start writing this book, she got diagnosed with breast cancer. So she's been kind of like fighting that. So when she announced that she had been finally kind of like able to start writing it and that it was being released, I got so excited that I pre-ordered it off of Amazon, totally not thinking about the fact that all the rest of the books that I got from her, I got from the UK. So this is a completely different size than all the rest of my books. So I'm gonna have to return this and then order it again from Blackwell's so that I can get the right size. So that one is going to be set aside to deal with later. But again, I am still very, very excited about the book. I'm definitely gonna read it like ASAP, maybe in the new year. I don't know if it's like a Christmas kind of holiday season book, but first thing January, gonna be reading that. Next up, we have another Amazon box. My scissors went in kind of deep into the box. Hopefully I didn't stab a book. Okay, I just saw the top book. I am so excited. Oh, I am such an idiot. Well, I have another book that I need to return. First of all, the book on the top that I was excited about, I got this one. This is, I think it's Wolfie. Is this not the coolest cover you have ever freaking seen? I bought this book purely because of the cover. Somebody posted this on Instagram and I was like, instantly need to have that. Yeah, I have absolutely no idea what this one's about. I do see mention of a motorcycle club, which makes sense because they're on a motorcycle. Always ride faster than your angel can fly. As president of the Hounds of Hell Motorcycle Club, my life has been infused with darkness and trauma since the day I was born. Chaos is my birthright. I crave it to feel stable, secure, whole. The only people I care about are the ones that don my cut. Women are just a tool. Never to covet, only to use, each face blending into the next. Until a little hummingbird flies into my crosshairs and I'm forced to feel something I haven't felt for as long as I can remember. ... Alive. Let the hunt begin. This is by Presley Hope, by the way. Very, very excited about that one. Now, moving on to the book that I'm gonna need to return. Clearly, I really like this cover because I really made sure that I got it. I guess we'll see which one I spent more money on and we'll return that one. Moving on, let's go ahead and open this next package. Ooh, okay, we've got a couple books in here and I'm just gonna pull them out. Oh, okay, this is much thicker than I thought it was gonna be. So this is How It Feels to Float. This one is a book that I have kind of had on my wish list for a very long time, like since I started this channel, I think. It's one that I'm kind of like interested in, like it sounds cool, but it also sounds like something I might not like. So when it was on sale for $3, I decided it was time to try it out. Biz knows how to float, right there on the surface. Normal, okay, regular, fine. She has her friends, her mom, the twins. She has Grace, and she has her dad who shouldn't be here, but is. So Biz doesn't tell anyone anything, not about her dark runaway thoughts, not about kissing Grace or noticing Jasper, the new boy, and not about seeing her dad because her dad died when she was 7. But after what happens on the beach, the tethers that hold Biz steady come undone. Her dad disappears and with him all comfort. It might be easier, better, sweeter to float all the way away, or maybe stay a little longer, find her father, bring him back to her, or maybe there's a third way Biz just can't see yet. Yeah, this does sound like it's gonna be kind of like more from that synopsis, kind of like more flowery type of writing, which typically I don't really love. And it is definitely gonna be one that seems like you're gonna be in your feels, which I also don't love. But it was $3, so we'll see how this goes. And then the other book, oh, okay, so this one is Bewitched by Laura Thalassa, and it is book 1. I had an issue recently where I bought the second book in a series, but this one is book 1, and this one is also one that I have absolutely no idea what this is about. I literally just saw it in the sale on Amazon and I decided to give it a shot. This one was also super, super inexpensive. I want to say like $5, $6, something crazy cheap. At age 20, Celine desperately hopes to be accepted into Henbane Coven, an academy for young witches. Already sold. Since one of the requirements for entry is to connect with her powers via a quest through the wilderness, Celine books a trip to South America. That also sounds exactly like something I would like. When a nefarious supernatural force tries to drag her plane from the sky, Celine's magic awakens to save her life at a cost. Using her power, devours her memories one by one. And then there's more to the synopsis, but I kind of want to leave it at that. That sounds really interesting. I'm very excited about that. Next package that we have is actually, funny story. I've already purchased this book 2 other times and kind of like gave up because I ordered it, it came super damaged, I ordered it again, it came super damaged, gave up on it completely. I was like, clearly this book is not meant to be, but then it was in the sale. So we tried for a 3rd time and 3rd time was the charm. We have An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. I think that's how you say that. This is the first book in a series. Here's the other books. And I honestly don't really know what this one's about, but the cover was what kind of like initially drew me to it. Also, I think it's gonna be one of those things where once you get all of the books, the spine is gonna make its own little picture, which I think is kind of cool. Under the Marshall Empire, defiance is met with death. But when Leia's brother is arrested for treason, she is forced to make a decision. In exchange for help from the rebels who promise to rescue her brother, she will risk her life to spy for them from within the Empire's greatest military academy. There, Leia meets Elias, the school's finest soldier, and secretly, its most unwilling. He and Leia will soon realize that their destinies are intertwined and that their choices will change the fate of the Empire itself. I like the school setting. That sounds like it'll be really fun. Sounds like a little bit of a romance is gonna happen. Very intrigued to see if I end up liking this book. Hopefully it was worth all the effort to get it. And this box actually only has one book in it. It also came with something else that I needed. But this book is Legendborn by Tracy Dion. And I honestly don't really know too much about this series, but I'm pretty sure it's YA. And I feel like I've heard some good things about it. I did not, however, realize I was getting a hardcover. Typically, I like the hardcovers, especially when they have like fun stuff on them, but I think I got the rest of this series as well during the sale. So we're gonna open up this next box. If they're all hardcovers, obviously I'm not gonna have an issue, but I think that they're paperbacks because it seems pretty light. And I hate having a mismatched set. Moment of truth. Ooh, okay. Well, there's only one book in here, which is book 2, and it is hardcover, so we have all hardcovers, but I thought I bought all 3 of them, but clearly I did not. Is the 3rd one even out, actually? Maybe that's why I didn't get it. Maybe it's coming out soon. Either way, we have the first 2 books in the Legendborn series. Again, I don't really know what it's about, so let's find out. The first like little paragraph of this says, after her mother dies in an accident, 16-year-old Bree wants nothing to do with her family memories or childhood home. A residential program for bright high schoolers at UNC Chapel Hill seems like the perfect escape until Bree witnesses a magical attack her very first night on campus. Specifically, it says a flying demon feeding on human energies, and the Legendborn are the people who hunt the creatures. Then there's also a teenager who calls himself a Merlin who tries to like wipe her memories, but it doesn't work. But then it also apparently reveals her own magic. So I'm excited about this. I love anything to do with like magic in like an academy type setting, like where they're students to become something. Like I love that concept. And then our very last big ol' box of books is from Book Outlet. This is the very first time I've ever ordered from them, and it most certainly will not be the last. I got so many books for almost nothing, and I'm so surprised. I don't really ever hear anyone talk about them. From my understanding, a lot of their books, I don't think it's all of them, but a lot of them are basically books that were left over from other stores. So for example, say Barnes & Noble never sold like 10 copies of a certain book. Book Outlet, I'm assuming, purchases them from Barnes & Noble, and then they resell them for a much cheaper cost because some of them do potentially have some minor wear and tear. It does say for the most part that the books will just have like a little mark on them, and I think that's from the store basically being like, this one didn't sell, we're gonna get rid of it, kind of a thing. However, I got 6 books and they all look brand new. And all 6 of the books, these are the only 2 that have any kind of marking on them, and they're literally a dot. Like, who cares about a dot? Literally, I think every single book that I got was $6 a piece. Crazy inexpensive. Again, I am just so surprised I don't hear more people talking about Book Outlet. So if you've never shopped with them before, highly recommend. It does take a while to get the books. It took, I think, like 2 weeks to get here, but like, again, at like basically $6 a book, I didn't mind, you know? So anyway, the first book that I got is Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. I have only read 2 other books from Ali Hazelwood, Love Hypothesis and then Bride, which I loved both of those. But for whatever reason, I just never really thought to pick these ones up, her like older ones. Rival physicists collide in a vortex of academic feuds and fake dating shenanigans in this delightfully feminist rom-com. That sounds cute. So we got fake dating, academic rivals, sounds like a good time. And then we have Filthy Rich Vampires by Geneva Lee. Because me and the friend that recommended this have literally the same exact taste in books, I didn't even read a single thing about this. I literally just bought it purely because she was like, you need to read this. And she's not wrong. It sounds so freaking good. This one says, Julian has a problem. He's single, and for the world's wealthiest vampires, the social season is about to begin. Julian would rather stake himself than participate in the marriage market, but as the eldest eligible Russo, he's expected to find a wife before the season ends, whether he likes it or not. So that's kind of giving me like a little bit of Bridgerton vibes, like the first season, the first book. I've never read the books, but I've seen all 3 seasons so far. And kind of like briefing over the rest of the synopsis, we have Thea, who's a human, and he basically makes a deal with her to fake date him so that he doesn't have to deal with the overzealous vampire matchmaking thing. It says, for 1 year, they'll attend the season's social events together in exchange for his protection and a way out of her mother's crippling medical debt. But the vampire world is impossibly decadent and darker than Thea ever imagined, and Julian's filthy rich vampire family wants her out of the way. This sounds so good. I'm actually really, really excited for this. Next up, I got a very random book. This is Cascade Failure by L.M. Saugus, something like that. This was a pure cover purchase. I know absolutely nothing about the series. The cover just like really drew me in. Specifically the cover of the second book, because I saw that on a recent trip to the bookstore and I thought it looked really cool and I almost bought it, but then I realized it was a second book. So when I was purchasing from Book Outlet, I searched for this first book and they just so happened to have it. Cascade Failure is a high-octane sci-fi adventure blending J.S. Dew's Divide series with Firefly. Neither of those I have read, so that does not help me. It features a fierce, messy, chaotic space family, vibrant worlds, and an exploration of the many ways to be and not be human. I do remember reading the synopsis for this actually, like, because I was gonna originally get this book off of Amazon for like full price or whatever, but the whole synopsis was just, I read it and didn't retain any of it. It was just words. So I was kind of like, maybe this is not for me. But then when I saw it for $6, I figured now would be the time to like try it out. There are only 3 real powers in the spiral: corporate power of the trust versus the union labor leverage, and between them, the guild tries to keep everyone's hands above the table. Branded by a guild deserter, Jal accidentally lands a ride on a guild ship, helmed by an AI with a ship's engineer / medic who doesn't see much of a difference between the 2 jobs, and a "don't make me shoot you" XO. The guild crew of the Ambit is a little different. They're also in over their heads. Responding to a distress call from an abandoned planet, they find a mass grave and a live programmer who knows how it happened. The Trust has plans. This isn't the first dead planet, and it's not going to be the last, unless the crew of the Ambit can stop it. So basically we have like a ragtag crew that has to save their planet, is what I'm getting from all of that. The synopsis definitely has kind of like a little bit of like a humorous kind of tone to it, so I'm hoping this will be a good one. I've literally never heard a single person talk about it, so who knows? Next up, we have one that I'm very excited for. This is The Nanny by Lana Ferguson. I just recently read The Fake Mate by Lana Ferguson and absolutely loved it. The tension and the spice in The Fake Mate specifically, not even the spice, just like the tension, the banter, I guess, was just so good. I remember just the smallest things being like so butterfly inducing when I was reading that book. So I definitely want to read literally anything else from this author that I can get my hands on. And this is one of the only books on Book Outlet that they had from her. So I definitely scooped this one up. This one's definitely, I feel like, going to be spicy as well, because it says a woman discovers the father of the child she is nannying may be her biggest only fan in this steamy contemporary romance. Basically, we have a girl who is a nanny for this guy, and she used to have an OnlyFans. And I'm gonna assume from the little blurb that we read that the dad is going to know about her OnlyFans that she used to have. This sounds good. And then second to last for this entire haul, we have The Monarchs, and this is by Cass Morgan and Danielle Page. And this is the second book in a series, the sequel, and I think it is actually just a duology. The first book in this like duology is The Ravens, and I literally just showed it in a recent like bookstore vlog. And again, when I saw that this was only $6 on Book Outlet, I had to grab it. I haven't read The Ravens yet, but I feel like I'm gonna love it. It's basically a book about a sorority of witches that are called the Ravens. And this one, I mean, it says The Monarchs, so I don't know if this is gonna be about a different group of girls or the same group of girls. I have no idea. But the covers of these books are just so cool. Here's the back cover. The only thing I'm kind of annoyed about is the fact that this is a hardcover, because the first book that I got is in paperback and I didn't realize that I got a hardcover. It's kind of a theme with this haul. I definitely prefer to have a matching set, but like it's not a deal breaker, especially if you're getting the books for so inexpensive. And also too, just in general, to get a hardcover for $6. How can you be upset about that? And then last but not least for this entire haul, we have Never by Jessa Hastings. And this is kind of a prime example of what I was saying before, where they get books that didn't sell from other stores, because we have a Target sticker on this one. If you're unfamiliar with this book, it's basically a Peter Pan retelling, or inspired by Peter Pan, written by the author that wrote the Magnolia Parks universe books. So I'm pretty excited about this. Also, just the cover of this is so dreamy. I don't know if you can see it, but there's like little metallic stars in the sky. And I was originally gonna get this as soon as it came out, but I heard a lot of like really mixed reviews for this. So I kind of decided to wait on it, and then honestly totally forgot about it until I saw it on Book Outlet for $6. So couldn't pass it up. And with that, those are all of the books that I have purchased over the last like month or so. I went a little crazy. I was on a book buying ban for like a month and a half. And when I ended that ban, I went absolutely feral. It kind of made the whole ban process pointless, because I probably ended up buying more books after it was over than I would have the entire time I was on it, just because I missed buying books so much. I just went crazy. And there have been a lot of sales, and there's gonna be more coming soon. Like I said, Target is having another sale. Like I bought some books from Target during a sale, and now they're having another one. So I think that one ends on the 15th. So if you see this video before then, run to Target. I'm pretty sure I will be as well, even though I like really don't need to. How many books did we even get? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, counting the ones that I have to return. We got 24 freaking books to add to our already very, very long physical TBR. The last few times I've gotten books, I keep forgetting to like add them to Goodreads. So I've been kind of trying to go through my books to kind of like make sure that's up to date. And I think my want to read list, which is basically my physical TBR on Goodreads, I'm trying to find my phone, I can't find it. I think that's at like 150 or so. And now we're adding 25 more. So in the new year, definitely expect a lot of like TBR takedown, reading all the series I'm in the middle of type of reading vlogs, because I need to get this TBR under control because we're out of control right now. Totally out of control.